Sessions Judge, Part 2. General Sessions Court handles a lot of things. Some places people call it the workforce court. It handles misdemeanor criminal matters, a plethora of juvenile court items, dependent and neglect, termination of parental rights, delinquency, civil matters below $25,000, orders of protection, grandparent can handle grandparent visitation, but a lot of what it handles is what's already been talked about with the clogging up of criminal matters. It handles preliminary hearings, it handles bond hearings, a lot of search and seizure issues, and so it is kind of the workforce court that gets things done. I have over 30 years experience in trying lawsuits, trying various matters, and I work hard. I think that handling General Sessions Court requires you to show up early, work hard, and work all day to alleviate this backlog, and I'm prepared to do that, and I would appreciate your vote of support. Thank you.
Mr. Segroves.
Yes. Is this good? Okay. My name is Garth Segroves. First off, Judge Gerald Ewell Jr. is here tonight, and I'd like everybody to give him a round of applause. He served this county in the Part 2 for the last 22 years. If I'm 3 years old, I hope I'm getting around that well and doing such a good job. That said, you can learn a lot of hard work on how to run a courtroom by watching Judge Ewell Jr. He's there early, he stays late. Last week we had a hearing that went on till 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and he never missed a beat. Gerald's right, this is a workforce court. This court handles all types of issues. There is a backlog. We have over 200 people, I think, in jail right now on misdemeanor holds. There's no reason that shouldn't be moved along. And the way to do that is to press attorneys to do it on both sides. It also handles any civil matter that's under $25,000, renters, and then a big part of it is also DCS court or juvenile court. This county has the highest per capita of D and N petitions in the state of Tennessee per capita. As a result of that, every Tuesday and every Thursday, this court is filled in Judge Perry's court with those type of cases. And we don't have attorneys to handle them. We don't have attorneys to handle the backlog in criminal court. And until we can get a handle on all of that, which I'm there 4 days a week, it'll be 5 days a week this week, and I see it, I know what needs to be done, and I appreciate your support.
All right, you basically led into my first question. What can you do as judge to make justice swift?
To make justice swift is almost an oxymoron. It shouldn't be. I think one of the things that can be done is to work together with the district attorney's office, work together with the public defender's office, set them down with the clerks and the sheriff's department, and try to come up with a better plan of how to get more cases, more people into the courtroom, into the court system. If we can do that, we could help alleviate some of this backlog. We have criminal court on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in Sessions Court. Then we have civil court on Wednesdays. And then there's juvenile court on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Orders of protection take up a lot of time in criminal court. If there was some way to move those to another day strictly for them, or have preliminary hearings on one particular day, that would definitely help free up time. That way, the judge could sit on the bench throughout the day, take pleas as they came in. That would free up other attorneys to go do other work. That would help get people who were there out of the courtroom and get back to their jobs. That's one idea.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ewell?
I would agree with a lot of those ideas. I don't know that any particular case needs its own particular day. I would be willing to handle those cases any day, and as was observed, it requires the cooperation of the clerk's office, the district attorney general's office, the sheriff's office, and everyone before us has expressed a willingness to work to get those things done because it's a problem for them too. My mind is open to any potential way to change things, to hear any case at any time, and as was identified, have court open throughout the morning so people can enter pleas and go other places and do things, so there's not so much waiting around by law enforcement officers, because they need to be back out on the street, as has been demonstrated, and litigants need to be out of there, and victims, particularly that, to save their time. But I don't think that I'm wedded to a particular way of doing things, and I think we need to experiment with this with everyone's input, but I'm willing to come in early and work late. I spent 9 years as Manchester Municipal Court judge, and I had court in the morning before General Sessions Court. So I had to pretty much, to the extent I could, consistent with hearing the cases that were there, manage that docket between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I kind of got where I came in at 7:30 to deal with those things ahead of time, and I'll be willing to do that.
Okay, well, you went right to my next question. What major changes do you plan to make on how court is conducted if you're elected judge?
I plan to, what they do right now, and it's something that began because it worked well when it began, but as was observed, the population has evolved. Rutherford County has a great facility, and we don't have the money to build that kind of Taj Mahal, but they have a thing called a resolution center. We pretty much have that. There's a room kind of back, but you have to go through the courtroom to do it. In Rutherford County, the judge stays there. I would suggest that we try to have where that room is accessible so that court can continue to go on, or I can sit out there and handle cases and enter things and get people on their way and do things while all the negotiations going on. That would be my primary thing to look into. But again, it requires the input of the sheriff's department, to manage the security, and the clerk's office also. But I think that would be the main thing. And to hear pretty much, and Circuit Judge Lockhart has started this too, pretty much opening up days to hear pretty much any case and not having a set day to hear anything. I'm used to doing a lot of things on every day, so that would be kind of what I'm doing now.
Mr. Segroves.
Currently, right now, the General Sessions Court on Fridays is essentially empty. Judge Perry has special set days for juvenile matters and civil matters on Friday. I feel that if one could utilize that Friday, that could easily free up a lot of time during the course of the week in order for rulings to be made, for hearings to be held. And if there's going to be a long preliminary hearing like we had this past week, that could be put on a Friday, docketed on a Friday. In order to speed the system up, and speed doesn't necessarily mean that someone's losing their rights or not getting proper representation, but just getting them into the courtroom. And again, that's going to take time and effort, not just with the Sheriff's Department of Transporting, which they do a wonderful job. The system that's been implemented through the video system has been great. But as far as working it out with the attorneys, both sides is going to take a lot of work, I think. But I think once you started doing that, you would see the benefits.
Thank you. Right back to you. What part of your background makes you the best choice for judge?
Well, if you had asked me that 15 years ago, I don't think I could have had an answer for this. About me, I started law school a little bit late. I framed houses for a number of years. Went to law school at 25, graduated, went to Ohio for 2 years, and then came back home. I worked with Don Ray, Vanessa Jackson, and Jim Lane, who's now Gerald's partner. And I did a lot of civil work. I couldn't stand it. I ended up quitting, going to work in a factory, doing purchasing for a couple of years until I missed my calling, and I started doing criminal work. And Bobby Carter, who pretty much helped me learn how to practice law in the criminal courtroom, and he helped me a lot, and I have grown to love getting up in the morning and going to court. I'm usually one of the first attorneys there. I like to get my files ready, and I just absolutely adore it. And there's a lot of attorneys that you could not pull teeth in to get them into a courtroom. I I'm there, I do 200 cases a year typically in Sessions Court. I've had probably 1,000 juvenile cases. So yes, I think I'm qualified to do it, and I think I could do it well.
Mr. Ewell?
I have over 30 years' experience. Most of that or all of that has been on my feet in court. I have examined witnesses. I have entered exhibits. I have made evidentiary offers of proof. I have handled cases like that, and that's what General Sessions Court does. It does a lot of pretty much triage of criminal matters. It handles misdemeanor criminal things. Like I said, it handles search and seizure, it handles bond hearings, it handles things before they go to circuit court, and it can handle anything as misdemeanor in General Sessions Court. I have been through all of that, and I can sit there and do it. I've done it standing on my feet on both sides of the table. I've tried criminal cases, I've appealed criminal cases, I've written briefs, and a lot of what General Sessions Court does is civil court, and the juvenile matters that were mentioned earlier are civil matters, although unruly and delinquent matters are somewhat treated like criminal matters, but the orders of protection, and in fact, General Sessions Court in Coffee County has divorce jurisdiction. It's not been utilized. I don't know why. I've got my suspicions that it's more of an inertia thing, but it has divorce jurisdiction, so you can try a divorce case in General Sessions Court. I've tried a bunch of them in my career. I can sit there, take the things, write the opinion, handle all of that, and my experience would really help me do that.
All right, we're coming back to the question. What can you do as General Sessions Judge to aid in cutting down the numbers of citizens violating the law, especially in the area of youthful offenders?
That is a really good question. And you know, the famous quote is, continuing to do the same thing, expecting a different result is the definition of true insanity. And so I think probably to consider what programs are available, and I see Mr. Lewis here, and he manages some of those programs. I think we need to look through there and see what's there to help that. I don't know that there's a good answer to that, because I think where I learned to behave was at my house. I don't think court would have taught me how to behave. I don't think court would have helped me to behave. I think I would have tried to manipulate that. But as was mentioned earlier, there was someone in here that Mr. Carter said he was afraid of. I was equally afraid of him, except I couldn't leave. And I don't know that there's a real good answer, but I think we have to explore everything, and that what we're doing isn't working because of the recidivism that was mentioned earlier and all, and we need to just explore and look at things a little differently rather than how things have evolved.
Youthful offenders and trying to keep that from becoming a repeat issue, it starts in the house. And in the last 20 years, the nuclear family has changed dramatically. We have single parents who are working long hours trying to care for teenagers who are doing teenager things. How do we fix that? Well, there are programs. There are ways to try to help get people into the home, try to help parents and children get along. Truancy is a huge issue. Judge Perry has effectively put a big stop. He's cut down on a lot by putting parents in jail. And sometimes that's just what you have to do. Myself growing up, I may or may not have been a truant on occasion. But it stems from the house. You can't expect the court system to fix a situation, but you can definitely try to get somebody in there to help.
All right. And the last question, and I've asked it to everybody, why should the voters vote for you rather than your party?
Gerald's a friend of mine. I think we've talked more in the last 3 months, not necessarily about this, but on cases I have, and I've gone to him where they involve city law. But I think I'm more qualified at this point in my career due to the fact of how often I'm in that court. And not just this court, not just this Sessions Court. I go to Bedford County. I'm in Franklin County on a regular basis, Moore County, Lincoln County. I've seen how other jurisdictions handle their courtrooms. And I think if we can pull those good ideas together and get with the clerk's office, get with the sheriff's department, get with the district attorney's office and the public defender, we can come up with a plan that might work just a little bit better than what we have now, and hopefully a lot better.
Mr. Ewell?
I think it's my vast experience, and when everybody else gave their start date, it was after mine. I was trying cases in General Sessions Court in the 80s, before the public defender was even established. They call it being in the barrel. So I have extensive General Sessions Court experience, not only in the criminal realm, but in the divorce realm, the order of protection realm, the civil matter realm. I've spent 9 years as traffic judge in municipal court judge in Manchester, handling traffic matters. I think my vast experience has prepared me better, and I will be better at this job, and I'm willing to show up and work hard, and I think they should vote for me because of that, because I have experience in everything that General Sessions Court handles, and have had it before anybody else, I think, tonight has started.
All right, and now your closing statement. You have 2 minutes.
I think I would handle General Sessions Court with decorum and seriousness, and I think that's contagious. I have had the pleasure to work with Mayor Howard with the City of Manchester and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and she expects a lot from you, and I find that that makes me work better. And I think probably if you hold court with dignity and you hold court with solemnness, and that it's contagious. It's contagious in everybody in there, and everybody tends to behave better. Now, General Sessions Court is the workhorse court, and there's some degree of informality. And people ought to be able to come to General Sessions Court and handle their civil cases, for the most part, without a lawyer. And I don't intend to put rigid requirements on there, but I intend to, by my own example, try to inspire everybody to behave better. And one of the things in the rules of judicial conduct is to promote confidence in the judiciary. It says a judge's conduct at all times, or a judge should act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence and in the independence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary. It says a judge should expect to be the subject of public scrutiny that might be viewed as burdensome if applied to other citizens, and must accept the restrictions imposed by the code. I'm willing to do that, and I think it's contagious with everybody in there when I do it, and that's why I would respectfully and humbly ask for the vote and support for this position.
Thank you very much. Mr. Segroves, you get to close us out for tonight.
Again, my name is Garth Segroves. I would respectfully request your support in early voting on May 3rd. This is a position that I feel I'm competent and experienced to succeed at. Mr. Ewell's correct in that some things are contagious in the courtroom, such as getting everybody there, having subpoenas honored, and following through with deadlines. That's what has to happen. We just have to get the court system up and moving and get over this COVID hurdle. And I look forward to the election. Respectfully request your vote. Thank you.
Please give our